but I always get annoyed by my period. I've had my period for over 30 years. I've never wanted children, not a moment, not a flicker. I'm sure a lot of you have got kids and you're having a great time with them, and that's smashing for you. It's not for me. It's not for me at all. The best way I can describe how annoyed I get every time my period starts is like this. Imagine you've got a friend at work. She's called Deborah. She's great. Deborah's got a rabbit hutch, and every month she cleans it out. Puts fresh bedding in, fresh water in the water bottle, fresh food in the food bowl. Looks spotless, amazing, spick and span. And you say to her, Deborah, are you ever going to get a rabbit? And she goes, nah, I fucking hate them. That's what periods are to me. I feel like I'm making up the guest bedroom for a visitor that will ruin my fucking life. Enjoy your new baby, madam. Somebody I know was recently having to childproof the house, and I totally picked up the wrong end of the stick. I thought it was made so the little buggers can't get in, or if they do get in, they come to harm. So I did a bit of research, and it turns out advice on how to childproof your house is advice on how to do the opposite as well. Example, 3 foot of electrical cable is enough to endanger a toddler's life. That's good to know. It also recommended that you teach your children how to respond to fire, which sounded like a fun game. So I reckon a combination of the following things is enough to keep the little shits out of my house. Forks in front of every socket. Aww. Multicoloured beakers filled with bleach. And bonny sparkly things at the bottom of your pond. Ooh, splash. That's what childproofing means to me. A friend of mine had a baby girl recently, and I wanted to buy a present because it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? But I don't know why you're supposed to buy babies. But a different friend who has adult children, she said, oh, there's only one rule. You buy her something to grow into. That's the rule. So I bought her a bra. But I wasn't just given this book. I was told about sex by my family. And when I say a family, I mean, you know, like your mum. I don't mean like a special uncle. But when I was little, I was quite creative, but incredibly shy. And I used to write poems and stories, and the only way I could perform them aloud was to do so from behind a curtain. Just accept it, it's me childhood. So I'd stand behind a curtain and read my poem aloud, hoping that my family were still in the room. And if I was a good girl, I got a banana. So when it came to finding out about sex, my mum said, do you want to go behind the curtain? And I thought, if she gives us a banana at the end of this, that'll just be really weird. But you know, the next stage of sex advice, the next stage when you find out that it's not just for making babies, you know, that it's also for making money. Getting your own way, that sort of thing. My mum gave me one line of advice and one line only. She said, remember, you don't have to put anything in your mouth you don't want to. Then she made me eat broccoli, which felt like double standards. You have to remember that kids' parties when I was a child, very different to kids' parties now. For example, I have a friend who has an 8-year-old daughter. For her last birthday party, they hired somebody to do manicures and also a hot tub. So what the fuck are you doing? You're not Kardashians. But if you've got little ones now, maybe this is the kind of elaborate party that you have to put on. Maybe you hire a venue. Maybe somebody does the catering. Maybe a man you don't know comes in a weird outfit and plays with your children for money. You can call him a clown if you like, but my description is still valid. Come on in, kids. Pedo the clown has arrived. We're pretty sure he's all right, but don't sniff his flower just in case. At least you would know if he was getting any of the kids to touch him in the wrong area, because it makes this sound. I fully expect at some point on this tour to start getting really angry emails from clowns, which I will then forward on to the police. I found another one for you. You're welcome. Did a show in Antwerp a while back, in Antwerp in Belgium, and just after I honked, a man on the front row, really quiet, really sinister looking, just went, do it again. So for him and for you. I told you I don't have children. Give us a cheer if you have got kids. And if you haven't, more energy, I like it. I don't have children, and it's by choice. I just don't really like them. I've never been very maternal, apart from the tiny kittens. There's a reason right there I shouldn't have fucking kids. I'm sorry, it just popped. But I think if you ask any woman who doesn't have kids what would worry them about having kids, the answer would always be childbirth. It's quite a reasonable thing to worry about, isn't it? Because what you're basically doing is you're forcing a person out. That's what you're doing, you're forcing a person out. I've never forced a person out. I forced a couple in. With a shoehorn. No, it was just me thumb. I think one of the reasons I'm not very good with kids, I was never around them as a child. I was always the youngest. My mum had my sister, then she had me, then she had her tubes tied. And when she went to the hospital for the appointment, the nurse said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yeah, I've had a chat with my husband. We only wanted two. We've got two. Like to go ahead with the procedure." And the nurse said, "What if one of them dies?" And my mum was like, "It's not like I just want any two. Well, we've got to set the bunk beds. It seems a shame to waste one." But I do have some friends who are mothers, and mothers do a brilliant job, don't get me wrong, but the kind of mothers that I don't like, and you all know one of these, are the kind of mothers who have 4 or 5 children and who think that you don't know how to do anything because you don't have kids. It can be the simplest of tasks, you know, the sort of thing, I know how to open a tin of beans because I've got children. Do you know how you'd know how to open a tin of beans? Because you don't have children, do you? No. Aww. I mean, I could probably open a tin of beans with me fanny, but I bet you fucking couldn't. With a ring pull as well. I say that so you don't think I've got a big jaggedy fanny. When I was in a shop and this little boy came running over, maybe about 5-year-old, came running over, put his hand in mine and shouted, "Mummy!" And I thought, ooh, I sometimes forget me keys, but I think I'd remember that. And then his dad came over and I thought, wonder if this is like the best chat-up line ever. And his dad's going to go, no, that's not your mammy. Remember, your mammy left us because my willy's too big. But I had to go to family planning just before Christmas. Oh my God. I was the oldest by 20 years. I was mortified. And the lady said, "Do you want some free condoms while you're here?" And I thought, out for out. Just before Christmas, probably use them as stocking fillers or something. And she said, "Would you like flavoured ones?" And I thought, yeah, bugger, this is advanced compared to when I used to go. And I said, "Look, love, I'm 35. The only flavour I'd want a condom to taste of is cock." Apparently they don't do those. So I had to settle for our 2 most popular lines, which were Lambrini and Greg's Pasties.
Thanks for watching. You know what would be great is if you liked and subscribed. I'm so needy, I'm so sorry. And why not come and see me live? And the tickets are available at sarahmillican.co.uk. Put the kettle on and settle in.